man. Here we go. Holy smokes. Sorry. What's up, JB, Tom, Dan? Holy shit. I normally start this dinosaur up a little bit earlier, but kind of ran out of time. Again. Sorry, dude. It took me a minute to get it going. I normally started earlier so that I can be on here and not have any issues. But yeah, it just didn't work out for me tonight. Every once in a while, you got to restart your shit, and I restarted it, and yeah, it wasn't happy. What's up, Lars? Gotta run. God damn. Just get in here and tease me. Modelo, huh? Man, it's getting it started up's the hard part. Once it's going, it does great. See if I can't jump on this. Pin my link up to the top. So what's there? Look at everybody going on here. Jesus, this thing is slow. What's everybody got going on tonight? Ken, if you didn't know, I hit my 500 finally. Finally. Come on, machine. Almost a dryer repairman. Lifter preload and measuring push rods. Okay, well, man, eyeballing that thing to make sure that roller or that tip's on the center of the valve. You got a hydraulic flat tap it. Made it back to USA. Got stopped at border. Search fingerprinted, strip searched. Make sure I wasn't a bad guy. Okay, so is it a stock camshaft and stuff like that? This is on that straight 6, correct? Still have transmission issues, but I'm getting it figured out. Yeah, you'll get it figured out, man. Was that that governor or whatever it was part of the problem? Let's see. Okay. What's up, bro? Trying to get back to my your daughter's still laughing at you. So, Tom, Ken, I would get an adjustable push rod and set it underneath your rocker. When you get it centered on the valve tip, adjust that thing to where it centers up, and I think you be in there with your push rod. Let's see if I can make it back up here. Pin message. Got one on the way. Sweet. Yeah, I just went over to my dad's Camaro last night. That was been a long endeavor trying to get it figured out. And I think we've got it figured out now. We think that the valve spring diameter was too much for the rocker arm, and somehow it affected it. Because I measured the lift on the camshafts, and then you times it by the 1.5 on the rockers, tells you what lift it is. And every single lobe is perfect. So the cam's not wore down, so we know it's not that. So we took the heads off and checking all the valves, make sure they're okay, clean them up, and then start from scratch again. It's been a weird learning curve on this issue. I adjusted the rockers, everything the way it should be. And then it was running fine. We went back to do something, and then it was missing its ass off. All the rockers were loose. I don't understand how it happened. Had Jason come over, he looked at it, he couldn't figure it out. We took everything loose. Yes. Small block of my dad's green 67 Camaro. But yeah, it's definitely not anything I've ever come across, but it's been taking some time to try and get to it and get a look at it between Jason's schedule and mine. It's been a pain in the ass. See if I can't add my earpiece to the Bluetooth. I think it's trying to connect to my damn phone. First responder, what's happening? Oh, it's small block, yeah. There's a few marks, but I can't say what it's from. We're just going to make sure all the valves are okay and they're not bent, make sure the spring pressure is good, and then blow everything back together and start from scratch again. Scratch heads and everything else, trying to get it figured out. We may have to go to a different rocker because of the spring diameter. Yeah, I adjusted his valves the same way I did mine, and the thing ran great. So I don't know what the hell happened. Well, I already took the heads back, took the heads off and everything. It's been a huge endeavor trying to figure out why the hell it left so much gap after adjusting all the rockers. It was almost like the lifters went from solid to hydraulic, but the lifters are good too. I'm trying to add my. Is it those? It's not the J lab, is it? No. No, the push rods were not bent. I checked every damn one of them. All the rockers are good. All the lifters are good. All the lobes are good. I don't know what the hell happened. Definitely puzzling. But like I said, the heads are at Cameras. He dropped them off yesterday. He's going to take a few days and go through them, make sure the valves aren't bent. No, they're big, heavy screw-in studs with guide plates and all that fun stuff. Sorry, I was watching my phone. Got Ray watching me at home. What's up, Ray? Maybe some effed up valve guides. Man, I don't freaking know. But once we get the heads back, we're gonna go bolt them back on, and because everything looks good underneath. Pistons look good, valves look good. They don't look like they ever touched each other. Picking with pickle. Thank you. Yeah, we're hoping. Oh, damn. Ray, if that's you, I'm going to get you. Mild man millworm. How is Mr. Millworm doing? So, what is the story on what, first responder? On our dad's motor? On millworm? What? You got here late. Dad's motor. Okay, so our other brother went over and put some crazy big cylinder heads on his 400. Um, just because he can't leave shit alone. It ran fine, but he still did it anyway. But beyond that, he never finished the job, so I went over and finish it so that Jason and I could get it out to the track because Dad just won't do it. Hey, Rich, what's happening? So I went over, adjusted all the valves, all where they should have been, put the fuel injection on it, got it fired up. Um, we let it run, hit 170 degrees. It started doing its learn thing. We drove around a little bit, pulled it back in the garage, shut it down, and was going to go back the following year to grab it, put some street tires on it, and put some driving time on it. It's missing its ass off. So we pulled the valve covers, and every single rocker was loose. Hey, Smoke Wrench, brother, what's going on? So Jason and I went over, we went through everything on it. We checked camshaft. It's good. I just checked it last night. All of the all roller rockers are good. The roller lifters are good. It's a solid roller. So no chance that it was a, collapsed hydraulic. I actually have to go over and finish my buddy's 400 Pontiac. But yeah, so that's where we're at. And we pulled the heads to make sure none of the valves were bent. So yes, we did. Me and Jason tried to readjust it and it ran like shit. So that's why we went ahead and pulled the heads and having all the valves checked and everything, make sure okay. Lark Racing just added coils from the Jag. Sweet. No, it wasn't sitting a long time. I mean, over the winter. But it's a solid roller. There's no hydraulic. We pulled the lifters and they're fine. All the push rods are straight. They're all the right length. We checked the push rod length with the checker tool and all that good stuff. Just at a loss. Not sure why the hell it happened. Just the only thing we can think is maybe that the valve spring diameter on these heads are huge, and maybe that the rockers got beat up by the spring. I don't know. Compression is perfect. It just, when it's running like crap. So our machine shop, we've known these guys at Kamer Enterprises in Huber Heights. We've known them. No, I did not do a vacuum gauge. We didn't have any of that stuff there with us. But we've known those guys since I was kids. Since we were kids, I'm not sure how long Dad's known them, but um, we took the heads over to him so that he can go through and make sure they're okay. I told him about the rockers, and I know, and that's the same thing we were saying too. But it's small block Chevy; it's easy. So we're probably going to throw a carburetor on it and make sure it runs okay on the carb. And then once it's done with that, we're going to throw the throttle body back on it and see what it does with the fuel injection. I don't know if there's a Bill Cameron, Dan. I know there's Bob, Ken, and there's a bunch of them there, but I don't know if there's a Bill. And there could be. I don't know. I don't think so, because I can put it on 0 with the intake valve closing, and all that lines up okay. That's a good point, though, but I don't believe it broke the pin. It's not old fuel injection, it's multi-port, but it ran fine on it before. No, because I can watch all the valves close right where they should as it's rolling over. There's a good chance it could have lost its tune, but in the handheld, the little dashboard, I went in there and made sure that everything was sitting where it should as far as a starting fuel balance and um, the uh, the circuit enrichment for cold start, all that stuff. Now the plugs were fouled because it was running like crap. Yeah, the keep alive memory probably went to shit, but with the um, with the programmer in the handheld, it has a certain parameter for starting, so it should start, but it takes a minute for it to learn idle, and then once it hits 170 degrees, then you drive it so it can start doing its learn thing. Cold and warm all the same. On what? And a new Hemi with 500 miles on all exhaust valves hit. Oh God, that sucks. Well, not always, Dan. I mean, it and it could have very well been, but we're just making sure that the valves are okay, and we're checking spring pressure too. So, right, but we're still trying to figure out how in the hell or why the rockers lost their adjustment and so much. There was almost, I don't know, probably eighth of an inch of play in between them. So thanks, Witties. I appreciate it. It is awesome, man. I know, but Dad would not leave it alone. He wanted me to pull the heads. Period. What's up, Dakota? If if you knew Dad, that's just how Dad rolls. So I went and tore them off last night. It took a whole 10 minutes. But anyway, Bob said he's got a different set of rocker arms we can try on it to see that, make sure that we don't have any rocker issues. There's some high dollar, crazy rockers. No, it's our dad's Camaro, not mine. My car runs. I can drive it right now. Don, where did Don get in here? I didn't see Don. Did he sneak in? Ah, there is Don. Hey, Don. I was flapping my gums and wasn't paying attention. Not all 16 were loose. There were still a couple cylinders where they were actually okay, and that's what had me worried because I had them all adjusted right. Yeah, Don snuck in. So yeah, we're just like I said, we're going to start from scratch again. Throw the heads back on with the intake, throw a carburetor on it, get it running, and then throw the throttle body on and see what it does after that. Two of the intake valves. Yeah, taking replaced. Yeah. Been driving the TA for a couple weeks now. My only complaint is the transmission will read low if you put half pint fluid in. Shoot way up. Huh. Well, you check it hot or cold? Because hot, it reads high because it foams up. Maybe you need to take some of that out and put some B&M trick shift in it, that anti-foaming agent. You'll always see a really good reading every time. Checking it hot. So I put that B&M trick shift stuff in mine before I did the manual valve body. And yes, and it won't read quite as high once it gets warm. And dude, it will fucking shake your teeth loose when you grab second gear too. That stuff hits hard. I pulled the drop the pan and filler on it and replaced the like 4.5 quarts with that B&M trick shift. Man, I shifted that thing in a second. It's like the whole damn dash shook. It shifted hard as hell. Not sure if your car has rocker lobes, but if those are scarred, they could be giving you problems too. Now, I just went there last night and checked all the lobes on the camshafts. Everything's perfect and spot on. It did not hurt the cam lobes at all. What's happening, Ron? You don't use transmission fluid. What do you use? This is an automatic, not a 4-speed, so you got to use transmission fluid. Tractor Universal. You got me. Some other toward a transmixer hydraulic fluid. What is it? $5-gallon. Good Lord. And say tractors use nothing but hydraulic oil, don't they? Yeah. So yeah, that's not the same. So Dakota, disregard. Don't use tractor fluid. But yeah, Dakota, try that and see what it does. My turbo 350, when I was climbing in it real hard into high gear, sometimes it would blow a little bit out the vent. And once I put that trick shift in it quit doing that. And now that's 400, it don't care. The fluid level, the only time it changes is when you start it. It drops a little bit. Trans fluid in a 5-gallon bucket. Well, funny thing is, me and Jason used to do that a long time ago at the shop. Made it so much easier doing transmission flushes. We just pour it in the machine and go with it. But now we got a big bulk tank with all of it in there. I mean, to get enough in there, if you got one of those suction machines, we call them Sally suckers. Um, Put it down the dipstick tube, pull a couple quarts out, and do a couple quarts of the trick shift. Yes, first responder. That's right. Yeah, when it didn't foam up, it was able to keep it cooled down a little longer. What's up, Blake? Yeah, well, I can't say that because first responder, I don't work on tractors every day. There goes the neighborhood. That's right. What's up, ASO? So the reason I think the tractor universal is different is just because I've seen some videos and it looks totally different from transmission fluid, whether it be dyed red or dyed whatever color that goes into the tractors. So yes, I think it's different. The only time I have is our buddy Brian. He bought a couple of them. I got to help him get it running. Worked on the PTO and stuff like that. But that old buzzard, it took. I think it was just. Pretty sure it was just gear oil. But the Rams, I know we had to put hydraulic oil in it, but yeah, can't say 100% because I'm a city boy. I don't work on tractors. It does, Rich. It does help get some trash out and antifreeze and other contaminants. It helps it wash it out the pan, but there's no metal shavings in the motor at all. We drain the oil just to make sure, and the oil looks great. But yes, like my motor, the reason I rebuilt the motor to my car now is because it wiped number 3 exhaust lobe all the way off the cam. It was like almost perfectly round. So there was a shit ton of metal in my motor. But I've also known people to flush those motors out, shove a new bump stick in it, and fired it right back up and went right back at it. Thank you. But yeah, I've used transmission fluid to wash out blown head gaskets, that good old mixture in there. Jason showed me how to do that a long time ago. I can't even remember what in the hell it was in. But it was one he was doing at his house. I think he went 3 quarts of oil and 2 quarts of tranny fluid or something like that. But they cleaned it out. And as far as I know, it still runs. Yes, room service, Tom. So I'm working on a couple different videos because I know I got to get some watch hours up. And it's I got to go back to it. I sent it to Jason today. It's kind of hard to see, but I was diagnosing a. What's up, John? You clean your. I gotta get back here. I missed something. My girls love me. Those are all my kids. They'll bring me anything. I clean my car with Type F fluid. Okay. I mean, I thought there was a one that blowed a head gasket. You showed me how to put that in with, but that's what I always did. Heck yeah, that's awesome. ASO. Well, I got I think it's a 16 or a 17 GMC Acadia that come in with a misfire running bad. Stalled on her too, and when I got it in there, it's pulling a ton of fuel away. It's acting real funny. So number 2 was missing, so I took manifold off, took it apart. Obviously, the key's turned off. So I take my borescope and I look down inside there, and the injector is stuck wide open, and the fuel system still has about 200 psi in it, and it was blowing raw fuel into number 2 cylinder. So I'm going to try and clip that off the SD card that's on my camera and put that up too. Yeah. Yep, it cleans it out really good. I'm going to go grab my little camera real quick. Hold on. Uh-oh. Whoa. I got gear on my old rod knocking Briggs and Stratton. So this isn't a advertisement or anything like that. No promotions, nothing to do with these guys. But this camera, holy smokes, that's bright. This thing has got a Mohawk. So let me pull this camera or the pictures up. So I'm going to try and you guys get a sneak peek of this. This is a video of inside number 2 cylinder of this 3.6 liter. And mind you, the engine is shut off. The key is out of the lock cylinder. And that's the spark plug is out of that hole. You can see the fuel pooling up down in the bottom down here. And it just hosing that cylinder with fuel. So I didn't have time to upload it or nothing yet, so you guys get a sneak peek of it. Here we go. What's happening,
Howdy.
John?
How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, fuel injector is bad. It's stuck open. It's one of the direct injection. What you been up to, man?
Well, I had a eventful day yesterday. Had to go tow a friend off the interstate. And
Oh God.
I noticed Rich was in here, and Rich, I cannot wait to see you adjust valves on that 283. I am so looking forward to that.
I pull studs on my old 283. That poor old motor. CRV, no, it was a GMC Acadia. No, it didn't hydraulic. It ran. It just smoked like the dickens.
We're at 120 days, 2 hours, 40 minutes, and whatever odd seconds.
I was invited to drive my buddy's 11 GT Mustang in the Power Tour. And it's a lot of driving. I don't mind racing it. I just don't want to drive that far.
Danny Boyd is asking about towing he says, with the CRV. Yes, with the CRV.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Yes, I did.
I was wondering what he was talking about.
I loaded that Ranger up on the dolly, the CRV.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I've seen guys pull car trailers out to the track with CRVs.
I've seen a land train, a CRV pulling 2 cars behind it.
Oh God, I don't know if I go that
like
far.
and I don't know what they come from or whatever, but you ever seen the land trains that come from auction and they're always going south on the interstate? I don't know where they're going for sale, but you'll see 2-3 cars hooked together, and they'll just always real junky stuff. And then you'll see the U-Haul with the Toyota truck in the U-Haul with towing something and hauling something, Rich. And all this. Yeah.
And Mr. Buck is in the house. What the buck you got going on?
No, well, it'd have really nice tires, Blake. You just put new Michelins on it. So I was thinking about it, but no, the Ranger blew a head gasket or maybe cracked a head too. It's a octogenarian friend of mine, and he'd had this because Ford likes to have stuff that fails in their cars more than most manufacturers. So it had this plastic union for the heater hoses with some kind of vacuum operated solenoid on it, and it had gotten hard and brittle and cracked, and fluid was going everywhere. Well, he replaced that out in the field somewhere up in Northern Virginia, and he just apparently looked in the coolant reservoir. He didn't look in the radiator itself. So the radiator was bone dry.
Oh, wow.
So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, this isn't good at all. So I left the cap off. I had him crank it, put my hand over the radiator cap where the hole is, and you could feel compression. I could feel compression coming through the radiator. So I'm like, yeah. Yeah, when I fixed that on the side of the road. But my cousin's shop was 6.5 miles away, so. No, Danny, boy, you would feel compression coming through the radiator. out the radiator neck when he cranked it because it was bone dry and the head gasket's gone, so you would feel the compression. What's up, Tall Garage?
Yeah, Ken's measuring some push rods now, so he's waiting on a push rod length checker to finish the top end of that one.
Blake, I love that video Jabo did with the mower battery thing. I got to see about half of that today.
Yeah.
No, it was no walk at all. I picked that thing up on the side of the interstate. He wasn't but a couple miles from the exit. Took it into town to my cousin's shop. The long part was taking him home, which was another 100 miles. It was a long day yesterday.
Yeah, I haven't done that in a long time, and I definitely not one of my favorite things to do. I sold one car trailer just because everybody called me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we just use dabs.
This is true. I'm wanting to build my van into a little bit better tow rig.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. There's a good picture of it. This is my dolly. And you can't see it good in that picture, but it's got Mopar Rally wheels on it. Oh, and Blake, check out the tires. They're actually really nice, which is unlike me, right? But it's an old 88 Owens because, I don't like anything new. Worked great for that.
That GMC, the sensor beside the gas tank can cause that also. Only one cylinder? Yeah. The other ones weren't doing that.
Yeah, people were dropping rich comments saying you don't use feeler gauges on hydraulic flat tappets. So now he's like, okay. Yeah. I was wondering if it was going to have oil pressure after that because, you're putting a feeler gauge, you're putting a clearance on a hydraulic flat tappet. No. Push rods, you might lose all your oil pressure too. So, yeah, Bad Tree Blake actually have good tires, but they were low on air, of course. That dolly's just been awesome. I got that from a dirt tracker. He hauled an Escort round track car on it, and man, it's rough. It's got stick welding stuff on it and everything, but it sure does work good.
Well, as long as it holds together, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, all the bearings are new, tires are new. I went through the wiring on it. It's actually mechanically nice, just looks rough.
Yes, my brother did the same thing. We had to change it. It was a pain in the ass. Okay. Huh. Well, then I'll look and see if because there's a fuel rail pressure sensor, and I don't think it had an inline pressure sensor on that model. And if it did, I didn't see it.
One Night Cat has an appointment with the Sandblaster. That sounds pretty exotic. So is this a guy using play sand outside or is this a cabinet? Or I meant to ask you how you were doing those arms, Don.
Yeah, I wish he was closer. I've got a blast cabinet that we used the hell out of when we were building our cars, but
my buddy Ben has he has a spectacular blast cabinet. You could do bumpers in that thing.
Oh God,
it's huge. Yeah, it's a side loader.
Yeah,
it's really, really nice. Cope has one too. I like his cabinet, but I don't know what green giant set his cabinet up because standing flat on the floor, the bottom of the window is right here. But
yeah, that's about the way mine is.
Yeah, I think he did that so that I know why he did it. He did it so you can take a cart, one of those high carts, roll up to the side, open the side door, and it goes in level. But
Okay.
you're literally almost on your tiptoes to see while you work.
Hi, Wendy. Made it in from work. Yeah, mine opens at the top. It's a Mac blast cabinet, and I got some of that silicone glass media.
Yeah.
Twisted Mopar, old man. Um, and yeah, I've cleaned up a bunch of Jason's parts. I cleaned up all mine before I painted them.
Yeah.
It's done well. I only paid $40 for the cabinet.
I use the Hazard Frock glass bead. It's about $40 a bucket. Nice stuff.
It's probably, I think, $25 for that like 5-gallon bucket of media. I just like the color of it when it comes out. It's not, it doesn't look stained anymore.
I just don't like it when the sand is so rough that it puts, texture to it and takes away your stamping numbers and stuff like that.
Yep.
And that finer glass bead, the stuff that almost looks like powdered sugar, it doesn't do that.
This one's not quite that fine, but it's also silicone glass. It's not that other shit. I can't remember what it was called.
Well, the play sand is the worst.
That's what used to be in it.
That's used to be the standard.
Yeah. Yeah, I took all that out. We were going to use that. There's corn cob, but it doesn't get the real heavy shit off. It just does real. You can do pistons and stuff with it. But
the walnut
holes
used to be a real thing. The walnut.
Yes.
And I don't hear of it as much.
Black Betty. Yeah, that's what it is. The black, Beauty. Betty? Beauty. That's what it is. The Black Beauty is that black silicone glass media.
You speak of Cope and he shows up.
Uh-oh.
We were just talking about your glass bead cabinet there, Cope, the one that's like that somebody 7.5 feet tall set up.
Baking soda all by itself?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can use baking soda.
You got to turn the pressure up on it?
I've never used it. I know people who do. They swear by it. I just know there's a guy that used to do heavy sandblasting, like agricultural stuff. And he lived out the road from me. But I mean, he used something that was so coarse. Like if you took wheels out there, they'd come back looking new, but the texture on it was so coarse, it almost looked like, will a tire leak at the bead if I put it on this? It was that rough. I just don't care for it. That's pretty rough. They got it down quick. I mean, it took everything off fast. Yes, Rich, I know feeler gauges, but you use feeler gauges with mechanical rocker arms that have an adjustment on the arm, and you use it on a solid lifter cam. That's the purpose of the hydraulic lifter, is it has variable lash to allow for expansion. That's the purpose of it. That's why you set them to 0 lash and then a half or a quarter or 3/4 or whatever, but a little bit of preload. Twisted Dennis has used everything up to and including salt. And you could use salt. You just have to make sure to get it all out.
Yeah, we had a little spark plug sandblaster, just a little rubber boot to clean the spark plugs off. And I looked inside that sumbitch one time and I was like, man, this thing is packed full of sand. So you have to make damn sure you got to get all that cleaned out once you clean the plugs off.
I want to do a cabinet. I want to put an addition on my garage. These would be the perfect spot for it. Could have the compressor back there, have the glass bead cabinet, and that could be the room that stays. Because you know that stuff gets in everything. I mean, you'll feel it on your feet.
But I know.
And then you'll feel it under your feet.
All right, Rich. Take it easy. Butter, beans, and cornbread. Hmm. Thanks, Wiz. I appreciate it.
It'll feel like you've been to the beach, yeah. It is kind of like getting the sand on the on a tile floor at the beach.
Yeah. All right. Hello, Mr. Hammer Wrench. Jason, what in the heck are you doing? I figured he'd have been on here already. Maybe he's busy. Yeah, there's something. There was a different stuff that Cameras uses that I went and I cleaned my pistons and rods and everything with before I put my motor together. And whatever it was, it looked absolutely brand new. And I was going to take a bag of his, but he said he couldn't get it anymore.
Hey, Cope, when that chunk of aluminum comes in, can you snap a picture of it and send me? I want to use that in the thumbnail for Friday.
How big a chunk is it?
Pretty good size. It's going to be at least valve body size.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Blake, he showed us the valve body from Cope last week.
Oh, yeah.
That thing's sexy as hell.
Well, in my opinion, all the valve bodies are fighting for second. I think I'm partial to number 500.
Man, oh man. I bet the hell of a chunk. What's it weigh?
What's
I've
aluminum?
I've never had, a chunk of aluminum that size in my hand.
You know, at one time, aluminum was the most expensive metal in the world.
Yeah,
and that was why they did the top of the Washington Monument in it, because it was considered very exotic back then.
Yeah.
It's not that
So,
way
Brian?
now.
No, it's not. That makes sense, Twisted. Squirrel makes a good pot pie. Okay.
Yeah, one at a time. That's right. Cope did 589. I told Cope I want to put a pre-order on number 1,000. I still stand by that. No, Dustin, do not say 123. You're blind. You wish you had 2 extra days.
Squirrel.
It's 120, 2 hours, 24 minutes. No, Twisted Mopar Garage. 121 is still here. There's just not much of it left.
Right.
There are 2 hours and 22 minutes and change of 121 left. That's all that's left of it.
Can't eat tree rats. No. I've not tried squirrel before.
I can't imagine eating squirrel. Why would people do that?
It's on my phone and my glasses are covered in coolant. Okay, well, that's definitely not a 3, though.
This is the nicest looking valve body ever. They're all playing second to that one.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That's
It
number
is pretty.
500 right there.
Wow. Only 17 Saturdays, yep.
Yeah, there it is, getting ready to go in.
Man, oh, man. It's
All
too
the
bad you
good
can't
stuff.
see it, huh?
Yeah, I know. It makes you want to run a clear transmission pan. Twisted Mopar Garage. I almost wrecked trying to keep from hitting a groundhog today.
I've bumped a few.
This one, he couldn't decide which way he was going. I didn't want to hit him. I got around him. Auto Salvage Outlaw says good looking parts. They are, I believe, objectively the best looking transmission parts there are. I really think so. I don't know what it is, but I guess it just likes his stuff to look super nice.
I guess I have to invite Unfinished Projects next time I smoke some corn. I tell you what, I love corn on the cob, period. But sticking that thing in that smoker, man, it's a game changer.
A good
It
smoker
sweetens that corn up. God.
Yeah.
Well, and what's bad is I found a blanket now that I can use in the wintertime. It says anything below 30 degrees, put a blanket on it. And now I'll be out there smoking 2 foot of snow.
There was back when Atlas Tactical Gun Shop was open around here. I used to teach there, and he basically retired. He had health problems, but I had his shop there, and I taught out of it. And what was neat is those guys were all about smoking meats every day. I mean, every day. That guy would smoke shrimp. He'd smoke beef, chicken, everything out there. Bacon. Every day. Every day.
Oh, yeah. I can't get enough of it.
I said, you're running a restaurant that pretends to be a gun shop. But he'd do it every day. And his smoker sat out front by the front door. I'm telling you, it just drew people in. Best shrimp I've ever eaten. He would smoke them.
Well, I've tried them on my smoker, my pellet smoker, but I think I get a better flavor. I've got one of those Komodo eggs.
Oh yeah.
That I do the shrimp on. I think they taste better out of it. I'm yeah. I'm always out there making something. Even if it's for tomorrow, it doesn't matter.
About once a year, he would cook up a big smorgasbord for one of my classes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, it was so good. I mean, that was the best. That was the best. Had the classroom, had the range out back, He would cook up, smoke stuff for us for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
I had on-site armor, so students bringing guns that would foul up, they could take them in, could buy ammo on site. It was the best gig ever.
No kidding. What happened to it?
He retired. He had health problems. He had
Oh
heart
man,
problems.
that's
It worked for
unfortunate.
that. Yeah, I know. It was great. It was great. It's one of
That
those
sounds
things
like a
you
good
luck
time.
into.
How does a smoker work? Well, my pit boss has a smoke button where you can have more smoke or less smoke. Old school ones, you had a chimney for how much smoke you kept on the food. So, yeah, you should have taken that over, John. You could
No,
have done well
no,
with that.
no. I mean, I already ran the training there, but
Mm-hmm.
the retail sales and all that stuff, I don't want anything to do with getting an FFL.
Oh, well, I don't blame you there.
No.
This video is going to get 1K. It better get more than that. Come on. There's only 15 likes on it. It's not going to hit 1K if someone ain't liking it. Hint, hint. Yeah, I got a couple buddies that used to own gun shops. One of them we're still really good friends with. We actually, on the 4th, we always go out to his farm and drink beer, shoot guns, ride quads. We even rolled 2 freaking side-by-sides. But shoot fireworks off. It's a hell of a night. He got rid of his gun shop because of the taxes and all the extra charges that the federal has been charging for the gun permission and shit like that. So he got rid of his.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with the feds.
No. Hi, Marissa. Didn't I just see you? Hard time eating just fish? Shoot. Dude, I can give me some fish.
Oh man, I'm all about that.
Yeah. That's my daughter, Dan. My oldest brat. But yeah, I even tried we did a fish. We made some fish, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And holy God, I almost made myself sick eating it.
I love fish. Dust Devil wants to know when I plan on being in Sykeston next. Fairly soon. I need to get out there like in the next couple weeks.
What are you going to be doing?
I need to go out there and meet with them at the track, meet with Dominic, track manager. And I got a few things I need to do, people I need to talk with.
Well, and is Dallas not going to be there at all?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
I got some details I got to get worked out, and because we're at 121 days, and I got a lot of loose ends I need to get tied up because we're getting down to the smaller part of the funnel.
Right.
121 days is 4 months. So this is the third of the year it comes down to the event.
Well, I'm just hoping we can get that big double trailer that Jason was talking about so we don't have to take 2 trucks and 2 trailers down there.
If you got the truck
Sardines.
to pull it, that's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, Jason's diesel will pull it. My half ton wouldn't. it'd be mad. I can pull my camper. I got a 28-foot aluminum. I don't know. It's like, what's it called? Aluminum Escape. But it loves it. Yeah, big Dodge Cummins, loud son bitch.
One I'd catch trying to make every day count. Absolutely.
Well, he is. He's getting that thing knocked out, and it's gonna be pretty when he's all done.
Twisted Mopar says I don't have anything to do with that infringes my right. Well, I wouldn't choose to, but I mean, I have a concealed handgun permit. That's a right infringement that I'm playing along with.
Yep, that it is.
I mean, I went to Pennsylvania and went and got their permission slip so that I could ask permission and pay for permission for a right I was born with. So there's an infringement that I'm playing nice with.
I had to pull my car to the gas station and finish it. Yeah, with our new district manager, the old one, I couldn't do anything to my car without actually paying shop rate. I had to pay every bit of shop rate, everything. Oh, he was an asshole.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, hippie.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, he was a complete dick, and he's not there now. He's down in the southern district now. We don't see him or hear him at all, so it's good for him. But now this new guy, he's cool as shit. He'll let me work on old hot rods where that guy didn't want me to. He said anything earlier than 1996 or 1995, don't even pull it in the shop.
Really?
Yeah, that was that guy.
So in other words, it's pre-OBD2. Don't bring it in.
Yes.
Why?
That's just the way he was. But what the messed up thing is he runs old derby cars. So he'll run old derby cars and not care. But his guy's messed up. He's completely effed up. But I was ready to go to that, I think, Hamilton or Franklin Derby and find him.
Yeah,
that's how mad this dude made me.
He and I wouldn't have worked well together at all.
Well, we did not. We butted heads really bad. So, and he would not work with me. I couldn't work with him. I was ready to just smack the shit out of him. So he's gone. It's all good now. This new guy, he absolutely loves the fact that I'm working on old hot rods.
There was a time when that brought stuff into the shop.
Yeah.
Remember when they considered that good for business?
Oh, yeah. Say hi. Say hi.
Howdy.
This is Morgan. Say hi. So, yeah, this new guy, he absolutely loves the fact that I'm working on hot rods, everything else. He told me to bring my car in anytime I wanted to work on it. I didn't know how to be a mechanic without a computer telling what to do. Yeah. Well, he was trying to be that guy to make a statement that he could make things happen, and he just screwed everything up.
Yeah.
Oh, and I wasn't allowed to record any videos there either.
Probably because he didn't want his stupidity memorialized.
True. Hello, Landon. What's happening?
Not that reminded me anything, but I was dying to see The rocker arm adjustment with the feeler gauges for the non-adjustable stamped rockers.
Yeah.
I was dying to see that. And these people kept wising him up, and I'm like, no, don't. Let's just let it happen.
Yeah. Well, you probably heard me complaining about him last year.
Yeah.
And man, I'm so glad he's gone.
Hey, Landon.
I mean, yeah, there are some shops like that, but I mean, you could still pull your car in and mess with it for a little bit or whatever, as long as you're done with your work, which I'm down with that. But this guy didn't want you pulling it in for nothing unless you wrote it up through the shop. Few shops won't bring newer stuff in. Really?
Here it is. I knew it was coming.
Oh,
I knew it was coming. So Rich had to run so he could get that community post up and show me. It says on models equipped with solid lifters. I mean,
yeah, grandchild channel.
Yep.
Really, some of the yards you go to, you can't film either. That's crazy.
So Rich, if you're watching, since you ran to show me, it clearly says in the text that on models equipped with solid lifters, figure 70, and then it shows figure 70 with the feeler gauge.
There's Rich.
There we go. I see it right there. No, Rich, it is. That part's the same. The lifter's not. You have a hydraulic lifter.
Your heads can be the same, and you can change lifters all day long. That's.
I just knew what happened.
Using the feeler gauge on what type of head?
Yes, Rich. Yes.
Yep.
But the lifter's what's different.
Yep.
I don't have one here. I actually have a set of rockers there. I don't have the lifter in here.
Well, you wouldn't be able to push it down and show him anyway.
No.
Yeah, the head doesn't matter. My cylinder heads had hydraulic lifters in them, but I put a solid roller in it, so I had to adjust them.
I actually figured in 57 that the 283s, I didn't even know if they would be hydraulic, any of them, but sure enough. Oh, that's funny. Good stuff.
Well, and another example is, my dad's 400 came out of a 73 Laguna, I think. It was a hydraulic. It's got solid roller lifters in it. So we have to adjust, with a feeler gauge.
The 85 to 91 LA small block Chryslers, the blocks were all cast for the roller, but some of them had flat tappet.
Yes.
It just looks weird because the bosses come up so high. It almost looks like it's just hanging. You pop the intake on one of those for the first time and don't know that. You're like, oh my gosh, you think your lifter is just half of it's gone. But no, it's just the bosses are so high.
It's a deep hole.
Yeah.
Foxes, full roller lifters, roller rockers. Yeah, but you still have to adjust the lash on them though.
Well, if you're gnarly enough, you can run a solid roller on the street. Some people do. That's what Andy's got in his.
I run a solid roller in mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
He loves
you
it.
got to do the maintenance, though.
Spencer's. What's going on, man?
Spencer's Drink Reviews and Chugs.
I've checked mine. Let's see. Last year, was the fourth time I checked mine, and they've not come adjusted. They've not been too tight. So I think I'm all right. Now in the wintertime, depending on what spring pressure you got, you need to take the rockers loose so it doesn't hurt your valve train. So I think mine will be okay. I'm not running a super ton of spring pressure, so I think I'll be all right.
I was figuring I would have to go to a solid roller in the 340 for the Dart Sport. But since Comp Cams has started making that affordable DLC coating, that diamond-like coating, black polish stuff, it's making me think, okay, maybe I want to take one more chance on a gnarly flat tap at solid cam, because Polito said that they've got 10,000 passes on going on a Spintron, and they were even swapping lifters hole to hole and couldn't get a cam flat with it. Yep.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
That's how hard that coating is. Not 10,000. 10 million cycles on the Spintron. 10 million.
Okay.
And he was swapping. They were trying to get a cam to go flat with it. That's what they were trying to do.
Right.
Just to see if they could push it to failure.
I went when I put my good cylinder heads on my other hydraulic flat tappet. I put a big diameter spring, but it was only like 80 pounds at the seat because it was still a hydraulic.
Yeah.
So that motor would actually rev 7,200. It shouldn't, but it did. So, and then that's when it run 12 O's. Well, I went out and took it out on the street. I was actually, when I was still married, I got mad and I just grabbed the car, drove around just trying to calm down, and ended up over revving it over on the main drag over here. Yeah. I had to get some frustration out. And I did bad.
I'm digging the Beehive springs. I thought they were really goofy looking when they came out, but looking at how much they get that weight down right over the valve.
Yes.
I like them. I'm digging the Beehive now.
I heard that they coil bind a whole lot quicker, though.
They could. Just depends, though. How much room do you have to work with? Do you have a vehicle that's got a really short valve or not? If you're limited on the real estate you've got to work with versus your lift.
Well, I think with the roller cam that I have now, I don't know that they have a Beehive that'll take that abuse. So I got a triple spring in it now. Well, no, I'm sorry. It's a double with a damper.
So when we went to PRI, Dallas was joking that probably the number one thing we saw there were LS intakes.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't walk 20 feet without seeing somebody's LS intake. But I would say probably in the top 5 were different kinds of springs. It was interesting. It was. Why doesn't the manual show both kind? Why couldn't you use that? Rich, why don't you go ahead and use a feeler gauge and adjust your hydraulic flat tappets with us? Let us know how it works. You'll just do it and then make a video about it. You don't have to believe me if you don't want to. Oh no, Auto Salvage Outlaws, he can. He won't have any oil pressure when he does it, but I mean, you don't have to believe anything we say, Rich. You make a video saying
you got to go in there and find out for yourself.
I'm telling you, there's a whole lot of people here who have done what you want to do, and I'm including me. And I'm telling you, if you have a hydraulic lifter, it's designed to have a preload to accommodate that gap. That's what it does. When you set a clearance, you're setting it because there isn't one. The lifter's solid, the push rod's solid, the valve. That's what the clearance is for on the solid lifter. It's not just about pictures in the manual and words. You have to understand what's actually going on in there. If you have hydraulic lifters, you don't set it with a feeler gauge. Now there's something that would muddy the water to talk about, which Rob probably knows exactly what I'm talking about, which is setting them off the bottom, but I don't even want to get into that. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about? People do that in race applications.
Well, yeah. I've tried so many different ways of doing it just to see what was the more efficient way.
Yeah.
And there was a guy that from one of the old machine shops we used to go to. He did it without even the motor. Well, when he put the motor together, he had them adjusted before we even started the car, and he didn't go through individual cylinders.
Yeah.
So the way I do, where I like how I adjust my valves, I start with the ones that the valves are all the way closed. Doesn't matter what cylinder it is, where the crank is, whatever. I just go through them. ANSB. So I started doing that with putting stock motors together with a hydraulic flat tappet. And it's so freaking fast. And they're not noisy when I'm done. So that's what I've stuck to. But now I had a 1968 SS 4-speed Camaro that was a true SS 4-speed. It still had the mechanical lifters and everything in it. And so I had to rebuild it. And when I put it back together, I set the lash outside on the engine stand before I put the engine back in. And because just bending over that goddamn fender to adjust those rockers, it sucks.
Rich, the idea is that zero lash and then the half a turn. What you're basically doing is you're a half a turn is taking whatever the thread is. All right. So let's do some math here. I don't know off the top of my head what size that stud is, but let's say just for a number, half 13, right? So if I divide 1 by 13, that's 76 thousandths of an inch per thread, right? If I divide that by 2, that's 38 thousandths. So if you had a coarse thread half by 13 stud, a half turn of preload is 38 thousandths. All right? That's a preload on that hydraulic lifter. It has that much more room to give to expand. So if you put it to zero lash and then a half a turn, you can literally figure exactly how much that is.
So most studs are fine thread. So it's like a 3/8 24.
Yeah, it's probably a fine thread.
Yeah.
So if it's a 24, yeah, that's perfect. That's 20 thousandths, 21 thousandths. Right. 21 thousandths of preload into a hydraulic lifter.
Right. Well, Tom, my dad had a set of cutouts on valve covers for doing the exact same thing. If it was a hydraulic.
Yeah.
So does Rich know that if it's a hydraulic or a flat tappet solid? Well, in my younger days, it didn't matter. I just threw the damn motor in and did it. But now, bending over these cars all day long, it takes a toll on you.
It does.
Yes, fine thread.
But the thread is really, we're just figuring how much preload it is. That's all we're doing.
Exactly.
Just do a half a turn. Or just do 2 quarter turns. Done. Right there. That's it. That's all you got to do.
But do we know it's not hydraulic?
It's solid. I thought it was hydraulic lifter. all this time you said the lifters had to pump up, not flat tap, not flat tap. They are flat tappet.
Yeah, they're flat tap it because they're
I
not
think-
a roller.
I'm thinking that they're hydraulic flat tappet, correct?
Yeah, well, depends on how tight of the lifter it is, but
I would have thought a 283. They would. I mean, I don't in 57. I would have thought they'd have. I wouldn't have thought you'd see much hydraulic lifter in 57, but
it is hydraulic.
it is. Yeah, there you go. Then you want to
Okay,
pre.
yeah. Right, yeah. So
Zero
you want to
lash, half
do
a turn.
zero. Yes, and you're in there. But I've seen both of them go to hydraulic and solid. So
Yeah. That's the thing though. In 57, I being
My
that year, I would have guessed
67
most of it would have been solid.
my 67 was hydraulic. My 283 that was in my car. But Dad's 66 327 was solid. So when we rebuilt it, we switched it over to hydraulic.
Well, the fine thread is not in the lifter. We were just talking about the threads.
Yeah,
on the
he's
other
just-
stud in the head.
He didn't put a comma there. He said it is
Okay.
fine thread and it is hydraulic.
Well, the thread
So-
doesn't really matter. That's just to demonstrate that you can calculate how much preload you're putting on the lifter.
That's right.
But
Man,
it's not
Dan,
a
I'm not
mission.
really sure.
It's not a mission critical number. If you have a
No, it's
quarter
not.
turn, a half turn, 3/4, full turn, all of those will work. You won't even know the difference.
The original manufacturer specs, they said half to full turn after zero lash. It's whichever you
Yeah.
prefer. It doesn't matter because it's not going to change anything.
Nah. Especially with a little broomstick cam like that.
Right. Man, I don't know if it was a hot dog 327 or not. It was just in his 320 or 66 Impala, and it was a big ass lead sled.
Early to
Marissa, you've
Flint,
heard me talk about it before.
early to Flint. You gonna take your own water?
Love you too. Be careful. Yeah, she's heading up to see her fiance's parents. Not doing too good. I think the dad is in the hospital or something.
Hmm.
It was the water bad up there. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, Flint was where they had all that the problems with the water. I didn't ever really see what the resolution of that was, but
Yeah. Huh. Ugh. And my the other mechanic at the shop, he started doing really, really good, and now his wife just got diagnosed with cancer, and he's not been at work, and man, it has been kicking my butt. I get home and barely stay awake. I'm like on the struggle bus trying to stay awake. Dude, it happens. It happens all the time. Humans write that book.
well, no, I mean the book is fine, but it's just it's up to the reader to really understand which version you have, which variation. And it's
Well, the way they
that's all
worded
it
it.
is.
Oh, good. Lead. That's awesome.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you've heard of the Quest pipe stuff that was going on with houses built in the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
What was happening is the fittings they used on that pipe, it was the chlorine in water that was causing the fittings to break. It was causing the plastic to deteriorate. So what a lot of these municipal water systems did They quit using the Quest pipe in the mid 90s, but they had to, or polybutylene. Quest was the number one maker of it. But what the municipality started doing is they went to chloraminated water with ammonia. And that wasn't causing problems with the pipes anymore, but it was wreaking havoc with people's aquariums. They were having to figure out how to readjust their water for fishes and that kind of thing. It's always something. You trade one thing for something else.
Right.
Yeah, she's taking a bottle of water with her. There you go. They probably have it under control now, I would imagine. I want to say it was a federal disaster relief funding wound up stepping in there.
Well, I'm sure she'll find out. Sorry.
I've never been to Michigan, anywhere in Michigan.
I have a couple times. I used to, back before I even had kids, I worked with a moving company in the summertime. In the wintertime, as a young old teenager before I went stupid, I'd work at Burger King or something like that in the wintertime to stay warm. But in the summertime, I'd go with this moving company and I'd get cash. This dude would pay like $400 a day. And he would have me drive my Camaro to Michigan, Toledo, Newark, because there's a lot of military families that were up there. I'd help pack and load the truck and then follow them all the way back to Wright Pat and unload them. But like I said, $400 a day.
Good money.
I loved it.
Takes toll on you.
It does. But I was also, 18, 19 years old. So, yeah. I mean, I could go nonstop. But now, no, not so much.
Rich is saying that it does run now, just a couple clattering rockers. I just hope that rod bearing doesn't come back to haunt you.
No, that would suck.
We'll see.
Went across the bridge to Canada. Nice.
Never been to Canada either.
I was supposed to go once with my grandma and did not go. I should have.
If I ever went to Detroit, I think I'd like to go over to Windsor.
Yeah.
See where my swinger was made. The Windsor plant.
Mm-hmm. I want to say, what was it? Detroit, Michigan, where my car was made. Wasn't it Detroit? I think it was Detroit.
Chrysler had several plants. I know they had Hamtramck, they had Windsor, Lynch Road. It would be interesting seeing some of those plants.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, that'll do it. Well, guys, I think I'm going to hit it. I am yawning my ass off. I'm going to get in the shower and go to bed. I was going to try and work on these videos, but I don't think I got the energy to do it.
One-eyed cat Don says, from what I'm heard, I'm not allowed in Canada. That sounds like a whole live topic on its own. You should have Don come on and explain why he's not allowed in Canada. Oh, goodness.
It was more than one. Wow.
Oh, jeez.
Both of your Avengers were made in Detroit, huh?
What kind of Avengers are those?
It's Dodge.
Well, Hillman Avenger wasn't, but I don't think the Avenger was, because I thought most of them were made Diamond Star Motors.
I remember those first generation Avengers. God, I hated those cars.
Well, I'll tell you what, that when Chrysler did their first round of the electronic transmissions. They were
Mhm.
not very good. They had a lot of problems.
The first overdrives?
No, the first round of the electronics, the ones they made late 80s, early 90s, and the first Avengers still had those.
Oh,
And the real
yeah.
noisy solenoids and would have problems with them.
Yep. You know, they still use that up until the late 90s. I'm pretty sure it was still the same pack.
I know the rear wheel drive stuff, you run Cope's valve body, you can run it hydraulic or electronic. Transmission doesn't matter. With his valve body, it's all hydraulic
Yeah.
anyway. It gets
Right.
rid of those problems. Turbo Tom
had
had
a
a
hard
hard time getting back in America. My gosh, what do you people do when you go over there?
Yeah, I think he said something about a strip search earlier in the chat.
Oh my.
Is convicted of DUI a major infraction in Canada. I mean, you can't even have a
Okay.
gun in Canada.
Yeah, not supposed to.
Well, I'm not saying. I'm saying legally you're not allowed to. I think you're allowed to have a hunting weapon, but no
Yeah.
pistols, no nothing like that. Yeah, Canada is a different country for a reason.
I hear it's a really big deal. Some of these people here on a visa, if they get a DUI going back to their home country. I hear that's a big deal.
Wrong name and birthday. Damn.
I knew a guy
Lars.
who his name was Dave Hicks, and there apparently, I don't remember when this was. I guess it was sometime in the 90s. There was some kind of terrorist named David Hicks. And so even though he was a lot older than this terrorist, because they had the same name, he said as soon as that happened, every time he ever bought a gun, there was a delay while they made sure it was not that Dave Hicks, right?
Yeah.
He said every time he flew on a plane, there was a delay while they made sure it wasn't that. He said that guy ruined it. He says, of all the people that could commit an act of terrorism, why did it have to be somebody that had the same name as me? He said, I had it first.
Well, it's like Robert's on airplane. Wrong spelling.
Yeah.
But not the same guy. Man, those two are so damn funny.
Yes. Yeah, Richard Cook. Well, yeah, with Cook, you would have a lot of that.
Oh man. All right, everybody. Man, it's been fun. It's all it is, but I've got to go. I'm falling asleep. I got to
Thanks
be
for
at
letting
work
me
at
drop
6.
in and bother you, Rob.
Heck yeah. It was fun, dude. You didn't bother nobody. But thanks everybody for coming in, John. Everybody in chat. Dan, as always, Wendy, Tom. Yeah, everybody take it easy, and maybe we'll catch Jason on his Thursday. And maybe Dallas will be on tomorrow.
Dr. Go. I'm hoping Dallas is. Either way, it depends on what Dallas has got going on, his schedule and all that stuff. If not, you'll probably see Polito on my channel.
Okay.
So we got stuff going on regardless.
So something tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I'll know tomorrow. But
okay.
I'm hoping that the Dallas and Polito are doing tech tomorrow. If not, there's a good chance I'll have Polito on mine just because he likes engaging, doing tech stuff with the community. So we'll see.
All right, cool.
Yep.
All right, well, everybody take it easy and see what happens tomorrow. Catch you later, John.
Later, all.
See you, everybody.